him to play. Again, this does not come as a huge surprise. Diana Rossini told us earlier that signs seem to be pointing towards it trending that way, but now it is official. And so, Diana, let me come to you again. Shefty just breaking this story moments ago. What more can you tell us?
I just got off the phone with a source in New Orleans, actually, while you guys were just having that conversation about this news. And I was told that Drew has had a really strong week at practice. It started on Monday afternoon with trainers. They didn't expect him to look as good as he did. But they said he's sharp, he's healthy. And we know with rib injuries, probably basically with any major injury, it's not so much about the health on the field, it's the next day, dealing with that soreness. And while there is soreness there, and the source did make it very clear that Drew is not 100%, he's more in the 85-90% range, he's able to handle it. It's not something that's too overwhelming for Drew Brees. So collectively, we know this New Orleans Saints offense, they're better with Drew Brees here, and obviously really good news for them as we're going to see him return.
Let's remind everyone that the injuries were 11 broken ribs and a punctured lung. And Bart Scott, I can see the look on your face. You made this point earlier. You're worried about this. Tell everybody why.
Listen, because as a defender, that is a bullseye for me. I don't care. It's the cost of doing business. If this is a team that I may have to face in the Super Bowl, I'm going to make sure I do some damage. I'm going to inflict as much damage as I can, especially early in the game, knowing that I have a great offense that can match them score for score. So he has a target on him. They're going to put some barbecue sauce on the ribs. We're going to see if Drew Brees is about that smoke. 85% is not enough for me because I need him for the duration of the playoffs. I'm going to be targeting that. I'm going to fall on it. And if I get it fine, we'll have a pool for the FedEx. So I'll tell you what, Drew Brees better be ready because he doesn't care. If I have to take that extra step, we're going to take that extra step.
Look, I mean, the bottom line of it is it doesn't sound pretty to say it. But, RC, that is the reality of football, right? Those are serious injuries he's coming back from, and the defenders know that, and they'll go after it, right?
Hey, listen, I'm laughing because Bart is 100% correct. Unless the game has just changed that much since we were out. When you have a quarterback who's ailing or any player that's ailing, you want to be as physical as you possibly can be. And Drew Brees is going to be a guy who has a target on his back. They're going to understand that coming back from ribs is difficult. He'll obviously be exposed because he plays the quarterback position. And you watch Chris Jones and you watch this front get pressure on Tua Tagovailoa last week. They're going to try to do the same thing, get pressure in Drew's face and kind of make him get the ball out of his hands quickly to protect himself. And so I think all signs point to Kansas City bringing a lot of pressure this week and forcing Drew Brees to prove to us that those ribs are healed and he's not nervous or scared to be in that pocket.
Let me get my quarterback's perspective. Mark Sanchez, what do you think of this decision?
Yeah, I think it's dicey. These guys are both right. And knowing that as a quarterback, just like you said, your mentality shifts immediately. All right, how quickly can I get this ball out of my hands? How quickly can we get these blocking protections secured and get rid of this thing? Because like Bart said, like RC said, these guys are going to be falling on him, laying on him a little extra, rolling over a little extra, giving him a quick little jab. That's just the nature of the game.
Okay, let me take a very quick break on that thought. We will have much more. Again, the breaking news from Adam Schefter just moments ago. Drew Brees, after a 4-game absence, is coming back this weekend in a potential Super Bowl preview showdown. Remains unclear right now who the Saints will start at quarterback Sunday in their monster matchup with the Chiefs. Brees coming back from 11 broken ribs and a punctured lung. Here's head coach Sean Payton.
It's pretty simple. It's just functionality, strength, throwing, without soreness, there's a process. And, last week with the trainers, he had one throwing day. Then yesterday, the same way. And it's really asymptomatic, feeling good, strong, and like you can function and be an asset and play well.
All right, Diana Rossini gets up early with us, our NFL insider extraordinaire, who has this game this weekend. You have Saints-Chiefs this weekend, and you cover the Saints very closely generally. So what is the latest on Brees, and when do you believe we will know who the starter will be?
I think we're going to know later today who the starter will be. So much credit to the Saints organization, Greeny. It's Friday. We have no idea who's going to start on Sunday. This is how well kept, or at least how disciplined this team is. Nothing has been leaked out just yet. So there's a little bit of reading the tea leaves. I did make some calls on this. And here's the sense, Greeny, I'm getting a lot of optimism here. So we talked last Friday, and I was like, Greeny, no way. They're going to be conservative. We're not going to see Drew Brees until the playoffs. Well, it sounds like Drew has looked good in practice. He's getting healthy. They have gone day by day with him just to check with the trainers to make sure he's close to 100%. But it would not shock me if Drew Brees played against the Kansas City Chiefs.
That video we were just showing you was Brees working this week. And as you point out, Diana, he did look really good. So, again, you're covering this game. How are the Chiefs preparing for this defensively, not knowing who it is they're going to face?
Yeah, this is so interesting, and this is where Sean Payton is once again brilliant. Why tell anybody who's going to start and give that advantage away? Because now the Chiefs, they've got to prepare for 3 quarterbacks because you have no idea who New Orleans is going to go with. Is it going to be Taysom Hill? Is it going to be Jameis Winston? Is it going to be Drew Brees? But here's what I found out talking to Tyrann Mathieu yesterday. He said they're doing tons of work on Taysom Hill. He says he's so mobile and he's such a unique type quarterback that they've got to do more work on him. They know what Drew Brees can do. And he even said, he's like, look, all due respect, he is a Hall of Fame quarterback, that being Drew Brees. He said, but prepping for Taysom Hill takes more work. We have to do more at practice preparing for him. And it really seems and feels like this Chiefs defense are spending most of their time getting ready for Taysom Hill on Sunday.
Again, they do have the 3 options. People sometimes forget that Jameis Winston is there, and those are 3 really different players, Brees, Hill, and Jameis. Let me bring the guys back in here, and let me start with you. Again, not being privy to all of the information that Sean Payton has, mainly exactly what the doctors are saying and exactly how Brees is looking. But knowing what you know, if it was your decision, who would be the starting quarterback on Sunday?
Well, first of all, it's all about Drew Brees' health, right? You want Drew Brees to be at 100%. And if Drew Brees is at 100%, if he can function, if he can protect himself, if he can play the game that we're used to seeing Drew Brees play in 2020, Drew Brees is the starter. And I don't think you really think about it. I think it's a no-brainer. One, he's a future Hall of Famer that if he wants to play and the doctors give him the okay, you allow him to play. And let's remember, the only reason Drew Brees comes out of the game against the San Francisco 49ers after leading a drive for a touchdown, after suffering the injury, is because he told Sean Payton he couldn't go anymore. So obviously they want him out there if he can be. This team needs the #1 seed, and not because things have to go through New Orleans and it's hard to win there, but because you don't want this Drew Brees to have to play in Green Bay in those weather conditions against Aaron Rodgers. You want to be able to play in the conditions you control, which is the Superdome.
Yeah, again, I will remind everyone of exactly what it looks like when you play a conference championship game in Lambeau Field. What Lambeau, the perfect illustration of that is the face of Tom Coughlin. Can we put that up, Kalen? Again, we had it yesterday. That is what it looks like. That is the perfect illustration of playing a game at Lambeau Field in January. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. That one is worth 1,000,000 words. And Rob Ninkovich, you were making that point, right? That if Drew Brees is going to get himself back to a Super Bowl again, he's probably going to have a hard time doing it if he's not doing it in his own building.
Yeah, the last time I checked, the thermostat in the Superdome set at 70 degrees, which is pretty nice with 0 wind. So the Saints, they need that number one seed so they can have that home field advantage. You don't want Drew Brees going up to Lambeau trying to throw a spiral through a 15 to 20 mile an hour wind with negative temperatures. You don't want that. So in this matchup, Saints versus KC, they're going to have Drew Brees out there. I think if he does come back, you could do some type of platooning where Taysom is the guy and then Drew comes in on gotta-have-it plays where you're throwing the ball down the field, because when you're preparing those 2 guys, it's 2 different call sheets defensively. So it's going to be a tall task for Kansas City if they do not know who the starting quarterback's going to be.
Bart, you see it differently. Tell me why.
Yeah, just like my mom when I used to play with my BB guns. Yo, you guys better stop if somebody puts an eye out. Listen, it's all fun and games for somebody asking barbecue sauce and the ribs for Drew Brees.
All right,
and it's all fun and games. And I know he feels healthy and he feels well. But if somebody hurts him, all your chances of winning the Super Bowl is out the window. This isn't the same typical New Orleans Saints football team. This is a tough football team led by their defense. And I think that they can go on, and that travels every single place you go. Who's to say that they're going to end up in Lambeau? If they're the top 2 seeds, listen, Green Bay is a team that can easily be picked off with the lack of defense that they have there. I believe that, you should go with Jameis Winston and see what he has. At the end of the day, you still have Minnesota. You have the Panthers. Those are homecoming games. You're going to be 12-4. You can beat anybody. Don't put Drew Brees at risk. Protect him from himself.
It is possible that we will get that news at some point before we go off the air.